Parenting is the hardest job, and there is not a close second. Raising high-performing teen athletes or performers? That's a high-stakes job. I'm Nate Crandall, joined by fellow certified high-performance coach Steve Galley. We coach ambitious parents like you, and also your high-performing teens, because when you both level up, connection and results don't just improve, they multiply. Welcome to the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast. We have some burning questions for you.
Is the machine raging against you?
I don't know if I've ever been asked that question.
You didn't wear your Rage Against the Machine shirt?
No, I just got my plain sweater on today.
Yeah.
Not much to it.
I never listened to them. They were a little too angry for me back in the day.
I probably couldn't name one Rage Against the Machine song if you paid me money to do it.
I couldn't name any.
Wow, that's saying something because you're the song guy.
Well, I just used to make fun of the band. Like I would, I love music. So
Right.
when I was teaching, I used to have lots of conversations about music. And there was a time where Rage Against the Machine that was all the rage. Was Rage Against the Machine. I see what you did there. So we're going to talk about, is the machine raging against our parents?
So what do we mean by
our
that?
High performance family. The idea that we have ambition, we're seeking high performance, we're trying to form good habits, we're trying to achieve, we're trying to win. It's go. No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But there's sometimes that all of a sudden we get trapped in this machine and it doesn't turn out the way things aren't going the way we want them to. Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like, this isn't very fun. Maybe I should just go for low performance instead of high performance.
But the way you're wired, like high performers, telling a high performer they have to go for low performing is, so now you're trapped.
Yeah, not going to happen. This reminds me of an experience I had at the beach.
I like your beach stories.
I grew up in the mountains, but my wife grew up by the beach, and there's a beach in Southern California that we went to for years, and it's not exactly a swimming beach. It's not even a surfing beach. Yet it's a beach and there's ocean and it's beautiful, so you do get in the water, but the problem is the waves are shore breakers. So instead of a nice little gentle, beautiful break, and then it rolls gently into the shore and you can go out there and play, and the waves build up, and I don't understand the whole,
you want to get into that?
The terrain, you can nerd out on that later, but the waves rise up, and when you're getting near high tide, they'll sometimes be anywhere from 5 to 8 feet, which is a pretty big wave.
Pretty significant wave.
And then it crashes, it breaks at the shore at the very end.
So it's like slamming into the sand.
Yeah. And if you're experienced and you've been there many times and you know what's going on, you can protect yourself. You know how to dive under the wave if you're not going to be able to get out there. You can, if you want to go out and get in the water, you can get behind the waves, if that makes sense, by swimming out there. But you have to time it right, and because otherwise, if you get hit by one of the waves at the shore, it's a mess.
It's like going a couple rounds with the champ.
Yeah. So we were there one time, and you could see this family show up, and they had some teenage boys and a couple of younger kids, and you could tell they were so excited to be at the ocean. It looked like this is a first time. Just the way their faces, their facial expressions, their curiosity, talking to each other, and just a lot of wonder. So the parents are up there setting up their chairs and coolers and stuff, and these two boys go down there. They were probably 11, 12, 13. And I'm watching and they're getting too close. And I'm thinking, they don't know what's going on, but they want to get in the water. They want to explore. They want to play. And I look around, and my two sons saw it, and they're just kind of stopped, like these dudes they're gonna get mowed over. And I look over and there's a guy running and there's a lifeguard right behind him that had come out of the tower. And they're like yelling, telling him to move back. And they kind of turn around. They're like, what? You know what's going on? And then boom, they just get laid out, pounded. And I've been in those shore breakers underneath, and you can feel the power and the churn of the water. And if you're in the wrong place, even if you don't get hit by the wave, I've never put myself into a dryer, Nate, but I would imagine that that's what it's like.
Tumble, tumble, tumble. Get
They
rolled
just
over.
got pounded. I'm sure you can take this metaphor somewhere with.
Well,
but they had no idea.
Yeah. It's a great analogy, because how many times in our life do we think we're walking into, oh, this is an awesome situation. We're at the beach. This is great. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we don't realize what we're getting into. And boom, we end up in something like that. And what's going on under the surface is when you get the waves that break way out there, it's usually on a flatter beach where the beach under the surface kind of extends and it's pretty shallow all the way out there. So as the wave comes in, it has time to break. Under the surface, if it's deeper water, it allows it to get clear and closer to the beach. And then when it gets shallow, then it breaks fast and hard. And that's probably what you had there, but it's what's underneath the surface.
You are nerding out on the whole wave thing. I love it.
I love it. Well, there's so many great analogies that the world gives us. And this is one of those. It's that subsurface stuff. And it's the inconsistency too. It creates variability in it. And many times the variability is the trap. We don't know what's coming because, oh, well, it worked for this person in that situation. But I can go there 2 days later, and because the moon's changed and the water's changed, everything changes and it's going to hit different at a different time. And so that variability makes it really hard to judge what's going on. But what happens with us in high performance with our kids is we'll be like excited to get to the beach. Man, they made this awesome team. This is going to be really important. Or they got a chance to go to this camp, or, you know, these coaches are going to be there to watch. And we have these expectations that go along with it, not realizing all the other things that go in. And so sometimes as well-meaning parents, we end up putting our kids in those situations, trying to help them, doing things that probably do help move them along, but not understanding everything that's going on. And we can end up putting them in that where they're getting slammed and other bad things can happen. It's tough. That high performance game
that would have
is so hard.
That would have a strain on the relationship too, for sure.
Well, who do the kids blame?
Well, when we were coaching, we got blamed.
Right. The coaches sometimes get blamed, but often the kids don't necessarily see it the same way. And while the kids might blame the coach a little bit, there's always going to be the relationship between the kids and the parents. And that's always going to be really, really important for the kids, whether they admit it or not. Your opinion of them matters. We've talked about that before. The opinion that we have of our kids means everything to them. And when we're in these situations, we can often do things that imply to our kids something totally different. And that's the challenge. Our good intentions, the support that we give them, often it's the support. Like we had Karen Somerville on the show, and she talked about cheering from the stands. And while she was thinking she was being super supportive, her kids were hearing a very different tone to her voice. Right. And it sent a totally different message. And so we think we're cheering them on. We think we're doing the greatest thing ever. And they're perceiving something very different. And it can create this silent tension that ends up stretching some distance between us and our kids. And if it's not addressed and if it's not talked about and managed, it can create some pretty deep but subtle problems, tensions that exist.
The road to a certain beach without water is paved with good intentions.
I wonder what that beach is. Paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really complex. And as parents, we got to evaluate. But if you see your kids saying things like, my kid says I don't get it anymore, or I don't understand them anymore, that's probably a flag. There might be some of the silent tension. If you as a parent are saying, oh, I just want to help, but everything I say is landing wrong, probably a sign there's some of this silent tension.
This is where conversations with your teens are so important in advance.
Mm-hmm.
For example, knowing that nobody likes to hear about rules and nobody likes to hear about a list of don'ts. And you certainly don't want to be pessimistic going into something. You should be excited if your kid makes this team or they're involved in this sport, this activity that they love. But how do you prepare for what's underneath the water? Because if you were at Aliso Creek Beach right now, you would just say, this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And you would watch the wave come in and watch it crash and be just like, that's awesome. But if I said, Nate, but if you get hit by that wave, if you're too close to this wave and the ground is slanted and the wave is hitting it this way, this is going to be a nightmare for you. How do you approach the fact that there's some danger ahead, but you don't want to be pessimistic? You also don't want to say, well, we're just never going to go get in the water. We're just never going to go to the beach.
Being realistic, having conversations about potential outcomes. As a parent in advance, trying to see things from our kids' perspective. If I do this, how might they perceive it? Just being able to think through some options. I mean, you run with an example like this. Your kid gets on a great club team, club travel baseball team or something, and they play shortstop and there's an opportunity there. And it's a really high level team. And so they get in and everything's going great for 4 or 5 months. And then all of a sudden the club brings in this really, really big name shortstop. And out of the blue, because that's how these things go sometimes. You get into that high level competitive thing and that, oh, wow, we got a chance to bring in this kid. We'll bring in this kid. And now all of a sudden everything been going great for 4 or 5 months. Different kids in there playing. Yeah.
I think this happens way more often than people know. That's a whole other episode for sure.
Well, and that's one of the things that's hardest to predict about a high performance atmosphere is generally they're more results based. And in the quest for better results, things like this happen more frequently. The danger goes up, the stuff going on under the surface, the deals going on where it's, oh, we're going to bring in this player. Or maybe everything's going great and this one kid comes back from injury and all of a sudden the playing time your kid had is gone. And they can change. Communication helps a ton. But back to more of the ones that we're talking about where we do what we think is great as a parent, but we don't think about the message that it sends their kids. For example, we get them on a club basketball team and it gets in their busy season and they're traveling weekend after weekend. And before you realize it, you've been gone 4 or 5 weekends in a row. Well, that 5th weekend hits and it happens to be the school dance. And your son's girlfriend's like, oh yeah, it's a girls' choice dance. I'll ask him. Mom, I want to go to this dance. Oh, sorry, we're going to be at a tournament in Vegas. Silent tension. I didn't know I was getting into this. I didn't know I was going to be giving up my life. You said this was going to be a great thing. And just the little things can add up and create some of that tension. Well, mom doesn't understand what I'm going through. Well, we paid thousands of dollars for this, so you're going to go. Well, I don't want to go. I want to hang out with my girlfriend because I haven't hung out with her for the last 4 weeks. Tension. And those are some of the things that go along with this. Really complex, really high level. Communication helps so much.
And I know parents who they get better at this. If it's the second, third kid, if they have multiple kids that are involved in competitive sports or activities, you do get better at this. If this is your oldest, this can be really tough because this is the first experience. And you're watching everybody else do this and you're a successful person yourself and you look at that water and you're thinking, this is great. How can we not invite trouble and think negatively about?
You said it earlier though. This is risky. We could just walk away from it. We could avoid it altogether. But our kid loves it. And they're good. They've got some skill here. They're some of their strengths bring them this way. Do you want to avoid it or are you going to pick up the risk? And so there's an inherent risk. And I think that's the discussion you have with your kids. This is a tough competitive atmosphere. Being realistic about that helps. But the pressure will often build so subtly that we don't realize that it's getting to be that intense. We don't realize the impact it's having on our kid unless we're really hands-on. I think little strategies like weekly check-ins, a simple, we have a half-hour conversation. You can call it an interview. You can formalize it if you want to. Every Saturday evening, I take my son and we go and we get ice cream together. And if he has games, we'll do the games. And then when we're done, we go get ice cream together. But we always have some time in that week set aside to, how are you feeling? What's creating the most pressure for you right now? And asking some of those questions, and each situation would be a little different. And I think as a high-performing parent, you could understand good questions to ask there. But
yeah, those are two great questions. Inevitably, Nate, I swear we always come back to, in many of these conversations that we have, we always come back to getting rid of assumptions and expectations and moving toward agreements. So when you're discussing this idea of a one-on-one meeting and a weekly check-in, if you know that this is how we're going to handle these situations, and if there's some unknowns that pop up, this is how we're going to deal with it, then you're much less likely to find yourself in the spin cycle of that shorebreaker wave if you can prepare in advance, rather than just assuming that, okay, you're doing these tournaments, everything, hey, he looks like he's having fun, everything's good, team's doing well. You ask him some really surface level questions and the answers are, yeah, I'm good, I'm fine. That's not going to cut it, because all of a sudden you could end up in the spin cycle. So it's got to go deeper than that.
I like the part of your story that I want to finish up here with the lifeguard. The lifeguard saw what was coming, and we as parents, we can be that if we're willing to step back, get the lay of the land, ask some questions, see what's going on. We can see and we can fill that role where we're running towards them, and they may get hit with a wave, but we're going to be right there to help pick them up and make sure they're okay. Or maybe we get there in time and we prevent them from getting hit by the wave. But either way, we put ourselves in the right situation to help. Lifeguard parenting, trademark it.
Nate Crandall and Steve Galley would like to thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you love what you're experiencing and learning from the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast, please like, comment, and or leave a glowing review of this episode and the show. And to further help Nate and Steve expand their reach and impact thousands of parents, athletes, and performers, please share the show and subscribe to the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast channel on YouTube. And if you want to explore further to see what Nate and Steve are creating to help parents of athletes and performers everywhere, please visit their website at createtransformbecome.com. That's createtransformbecome, all one word, .com. There you will find a growing number of tools and resources to help you elevate your parenting. Thanks again for tuning in. Now go create a magical relationship with your athlete or performer.